We should be live. Yep, there we are. Cool. Wait, hold. You gotta. Nope. Check your mic again. Do a mic check real quick. Again. Nope, not working. Hold on. Sec. It's working sometimes, but then other times it's not picking you up. No. Hold on. Right now.
Test, test. Microphone check.
There we go.
Minutes. Okay.
Yep.
Let's throw up the colorful map.
The what?
The colorful map I sent you.
Gotcha. Okay. So that downloads. Let's go. Large icons. Talking about this one.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. All right.
So here, let me give you a quick little intro. So hey everybody, this is the Order of the Dice. Tonight our Dungeon Master Dennis is going to be going over some lore of the region of Verivar. So we're calling this the Lore Master's Corner. I'm just here providing technical support, but Dennis, this is your show. Go for it.
All right. So we had a lot of people kind of ask about the concept, the homebrew world, a lot of that fun stuff there, right? So where did I come up with the idea or the concept of Verivar? I'm a big Feist fan, and so the if you read any of Feist books, there's a lot of demons, a lot of the gates of hell, a lot of that different things that takes place in his world, and I kind of like that concept, and I've taken it and ran with it in a little bit of ways that we could and I could and not make it the same. Some of you, if you're Feist readers, will go, "Oh yeah, that's similar," right? Others, you won't. But the big thing is to think about Verivar as the races are concerned. A lot of the main races: humans, elves, dwarves, dragonborn, tieflings, gnomes, orcs, half orcs. Those races, they've really only been on this world for, gosh, I think it's about 1100 years. The halflings predate that time.
Hmm.
So they've kind of taken over a specific segment of the world, kind of created their own fiefdom, so to speak. Hey, Myrtle, or Myrtle, however we want to call it, Mary. Um, anyway, the halflings themselves have um, created their little fiefdom in one section of the world. There's three. I want to call them three main continents, but the reality is you have the continent that the halflings are on, and where the bulk of the adventure started out with. That's the big island on the right, with that you see like the Grand Mausoleum and kind of Jorn Silver Mine. That
Mm-hmm.
continent there, that's called Badajana.
Hmm.
And so the halflings are the one that have named it. It kind of stuck. The other races kind of accepted it as it is. So that's Badajana. That's where a lot of the adventures have taken place up until just recently. Now, if you go to the left of that, you've got the long, slender isle right there, continent there.
Mm-hmm.
That's called iclador. And uh, really your barbarian type humans. Uh, yes, yes, cast strong. It will be posted to YouTube. That That Long Island iclador, the orcs and the barbarians and dwarves all kind of navigated and got themselves over there and kind of claimed that continent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to the left of that, you see two small islands, kind of where you see the crying face, and over to the left there, those are called the sibling isles. And we'll get into a discussion that, but remember the names Navrine and Navrin. That's that section there. So that's kind of the land in general, the three major areas that a lot of the races and everybody's from, right?
What's this
So
guy down here, if you don't mind me asking?
that is kind of the frozen wastes.
Mm.
There's life there, but it's not a ton, right?
Okay.
We've actually at the northern tip of that there are two barbarian tribes
Okay.
that are there,
Cool.
and they are human barbarian tribes. And we'll kind of start talking about that. But first, let's kind of dig into the world war, right? So in the world of Verivar, there's not much. Like the races, the halflings haven't shared that lore with the rest of the world.
Mm.
So in the reality, the arrival of everybody is date zero, right? That is the zero date. Consider that as the time of man, elf, dwarf, gnome, orc, dragonborn. They arrived there in the lands of Verivar.
And when you say
Now,
arrive, you mean Oz put them
they
there, or is that a
yeah,
mystery that we're gonna figure out?
they arrived, right? So what that means is, and this is all lore.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows it. Even some of the characters know it. It's lore, right?
Mm-hmm.
These races were fleeing another world.
Mm.
That world was attacked and overcome by demons. There is a demon king that took over that world by the name of Vertolg, Vertolg, the Immolator.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very nasty. He is mean.
And so knowing that is like a DC 5 history check, like super easy.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Cool.
yeah, that one, like, he is from the lower hells, right? There was a warlock by the name of Johannes the Meek.
Mm-hmm.
He had he accepted a patron at that point in time that
Mm-hmm.
he thought was weak, but the patron itself ended up overpowering him, took control of the warlock, which created this portal that allowed Bertolg and his demon host to conquer their world, right?
Mm.
So as this world's being destroyed, there was two very extraordinary beings. They just arrived, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, the best way to describe them are giants, right? They're
Or
that
what?
big, they're that tall.
What are they?
They're titans. I mean, that's
Okay.
about the best way to sum them up. But they're twins. They're a twin. They're a brother and a sister. But they're so close, and they are identical, and their features are so much the same that the reality is you wouldn't know, since they wear armor, you don't know which is which, right?
Okay, because they hide their faces. Cool.
Correct.
And features.
And
yeah.
so Navrine and Navrine are their names, right? They were actually given, by whom nobody knows, kind of the goal to find out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they were kind of given the title of conservators of existence, right? Their job is to help lives exist, to kind of balance, consider them neutral. Like if you think about alignment, consider that true neutral, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're there to ensure that chaos doesn't reign and even good doesn't reign, right? They're there to ensure the balance is there.
Is one of them more aligned with one side or the other, or are they pretty much in harmony with with each
They're
other.
pretty much in harmony. They're not yin and
Okay.
yang. They're pretty much in harmony.
Okay.
If they were to speak to you, they could finish each other's sentences, and you wouldn't know who was speaking, right?
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the cool part there. Now, what happened is they used their strength, their magic, and they created another gate, a rift, so to speak, that allowed the races to flee their world. And for some reason, nobody knows, Verivar was selected as the arrival. So, as the last tribes of the races, they rolled through this gate, and Vertold and his host descended. Like, Vertolg and his people, his demons, found where the gates were. And there was a really nasty battle that took place.
On the previous world or on this world?
That?
On the previous
on
world?
The old world?
On the old
On the
world.
old
Okay.
world, not on Verivar.
Do we know that world's name or?
No.
Okay.
It's been lost in lore, right?
It's all good.
But in that gate, as the last of the tribes rolled through, there was a seer, the very last one of the group. His name's Karai. He literally saw the twins reach out, hold hands, turn and face the host, and there was a very large bright light that emanated from that, where he had to actually cover his eyes. And when it was a fierce blast of light and heat for him. When he felt the heat subside and kind of the light leave, he was able to kind of take a peek. And what stood before him is what's dubbed as the Titan's Gate, right? So it is up in a mountain over kind of, if you could switch
to
it will be the map that says Badajana.
Yeah, I've got it there. There we go.
Yep.
So we're looking up
right there.
here?
Yeah, that's where we're at. And if you zoom in a little bit, if you can, up to Jorn's Silver Mine, which is in the down from there, down to the right. Right in the middle up north. Go up north. Yeah, Jorn's Silver Mine.
Yeah.
Up there, just north of, just on, not north. Let's go, what is that? West. Kind of southwest of Jorn's Silver Mine. Up in there is where the Titan's Gate is at.
Up in the Placid Badlands area?
Yeah, kind of between the Placid Badlands and Jorn's Silver.
Okay.
The Titan's Gate is. If you see that mountain range right there, that's very faint on the map. That is where the Titan's Gate is, and the reality is it's a mountain face that the rock face itself looks like it was fused together, right? It's completely separate from the rest of the mountain. Now, what happened here is to commemorate KSS Strong saying you've got an echo.
What about now?
I don't think you. I haven't thought you had one, so you haven't come across echoey from me.
It could be because there's stuff coming out of my headphones feeding into the mic, so I'll just stay back.
Okay. So
yeah, Scott, let me know if I'm still echoing, please.
Yeah. So, what happened here is to commemorate and recognize the location. There was literally stonemasons that carved the images of the twins on each side of the gate, right? So that's how you know the Titan's Gate is there. You wouldn't really recognize it if you were just hiking around, walking around the mountainside, but you see the twins. And kind of the best way to sum it up is, remember the two sphinxes in the Never-Ending Story?
Yeah.
That's kind of how the twins are carved into the mountain, facing that gate, and they're kind of looking at the gate that way.
I see. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of where they're at. What happened here is all the races kind of fled down to the coast to the east of Jorn Silver Mine, which is it's called Stoneland is the name of the nation there, and it's literally the oldest nation around, right? That besides the Halflings nation is called Italia,
Mm-hmm.
Attalia, and that's kind of the name of their nation. So with Stoneland, from there, all the other races kind of branched out,
Cool.
took off, and if you go right where the Placid Badlands are, from there down to the Sleeping Dunes, that is all desert. Right? That's a nasty desert. And the Sleeping Dunes are unique and nobody knows about them. And it is what, yep, Scott, not Italia, Italia, Attalia. And the Sleeping Dunes are actually a pretty nasty kind of trick of the gods, if you want to call it that, is literally if you enter those dunes, you will fall asleep. Think of the beautiful flowers in the Wizard of Oz that the witch ensorcelled with sleep. That's what happens in the Sleeping Dunes. You can walk and eventually you will fall asleep. So that races had to figure out how to get around that. And so a lot of them just plopped down nations and created their own, they took their tribe and created these different tribes throughout this area. And the reality here is at that point in time, they were literally on their own. So let's talk about the Badajana, the
island of Badajana.
Yeah, the island of Badajana, or the continent of Badajana. So up north, where you saw Mount Zodiac, that is where your gnomes are.
Mm-hmm.
These gnomes are more of your creative gnomes. There is actually they have created airships, but they
gotcha. So they're more like the tinker adventure gnome type, not like the.
Yeah, they're more tinker adventurer. They want to go out, but their airships they're very protective of them. They use them in defense of their mountain. They don't take them away. In fact, there's only been one airship that has left this area, and it has recently crashed on the mountain near the Titan's Gate. And our party has met a gnome that was on that airship. So that is there.
Hold on a sec, Dennis. I'm trying to fix something. Say something again. What about now? How about now?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, just go ahead and keep going. I'm trying to figure out the audio here. I apologize. I'm sounding all weird.
No, you sound fine to me. So if you're sounding weird, it's to Scott, and that's just because Scott's weird. But so just to the southeast, so where you see Luctane Wood right there, that is the Wood Elf capital, and that whole area right there is called Olamine Forest, and the Wood Elves of the world have kind of pulled up there, and there's a lot of political intrigue going on right now with the Wood Elves. Let's just say they want to grow their forests, they want to grow their foothold, but they need man to help them accomplish it, and they hate it. So we see a lot of that happening. I'm going to kind of point out where the different races are on this isle, right?
Okay.
So if you go over to the far west, where Rogho is,
Got it.
to the right of that, so you see no down south of that, right there you go, Rogho. So you notice that river that comes down right there, that riverway, and that runs into the ocean. To the right of that is a mountain range, and
Mm-hmm.
that's called the Gloom Hills. And there is a group of dwarves from that area called the Gloom Hill Dwarves. They are your more of your hill dwarves than mountain dwarves, right? So even though the mountain range is there, they're not big mountains. They really are bigger, more hillish than mountains. A lot of rolling plains where they like to raise their herds. They do some smithing, but not a ton. So uh, that is your dwarves in
Mm.
that part of the area. If you go to the east of that, to where you see Culver,
Mm-hmm.
which is to the east of that.
Yep.
So right to the right of that. So you go up that. That's a road actually right there that runs up runs up and across along a river.
Kind of
If
up
you
to
follow
Brantweek. Okay.
that, the minute you go into that, so right where it splits, you see it go to the left. That whole area right there is where the halflings are. So that's where
Cool.
Italia is. And then if you go more to the northeast, up towards you got Brampweek, and to the right of Brampweek, where you see the maniacal
Mm-hmm.
mountain right there. So just north of that, actually so maniacal mountains to the south end of that range. If you go up that range about halfway up, those are what's called the Lichten Mountain Dwarves.
Mm.
That's your mountain dwarves there. And then there is on this island, outside of those races, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's about 17 countries,
Mm.
human
Okay.
countries, that surround the Placid Badlands and the Sleeping Dunes, that desert. So they're all around there. And there's a lot of fighting that's going on right now, battles that take place. Uh, they don't share very well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you tie into what's going on in the world and what the players are going through right now. People kind of can start to piece two and two together to understand why that's taking place right now.
I see.
Right. So if we now shift to the map of iclador, which is the longer, skinnier island.
Is it this one right here?
That is it.
Cool.
So that is iclador, right? And you've got, if you go up to Mount Oon there, in that section.
Where are we?
So the very northeastern tip of, or northwestern tip, sorry. To the left, right there, Mount Payne. Right there to that mountain range, right there, that there is a city in there called Guzzleholm. And that is the Guzzleholm Gnomes. They are your rock gnomes. They're deep in those mountains, right? And then you go to the west of that, down southwest
Hmm.
where it says the real cave. That is the hill dwarves of Colonia are there.
Cool.
So there's a lot, and you see the mountain ranges there. They kind of take over those mountain ranges and have the valleys and then the hills there that are there.
I see.
Yeah. And then you go to the east of there to where Wandwood is.
Uh-huh.
That is the other foothold of the wood elves. And they're called the wood elves of Wandwood. They do not know their brethren exist over in Olamine Forest. They didn't realize a faction of them split off as they were trekking over here. They knew they split off, but they didn't know if they survived. So they just assumed because they've never bumped into each other that they're gone, right? So there's some shocks that'll happen here shortly or soon, maybe, who knows, as things happen.
Hmm.
Now, if you go down southeast of Cheverlis Hill, so you got Cheverlis Hill. To the
Hmm.
east of that is a mountain range. Just to the left of, so in between Cheverlis Hill and Cardfront Hill, you see those mountains right there. Those are called the Dunwallis, and that's where the Dunwalli Mountains are.
Okay.
All right. And then if you go south of that to where Sun Market is, and then in between Sun Market and Stonelands, there's kind of a mountain range there.
Yeah.
That mountain range is called the Towering Stars, and that is where your orcs, and they call themselves the Towering Star Tribe. So that's the Towering Star orcs, and then to the right, to the east of that, underneath the fragrant farmlands, you will see. So actually, go southeast of that. So if you want to scroll, yeah, just right there where it's nice and clear.
Hmm.
That is all ice, right? That
Okay.
is what's called taiga, which is it's coniferous, forest pine, spruces. It's a very winterish region. Think of if you want me to go to Forgotten Realms, that's Iceland, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That is that kind of region, but it's in the south. To the right, along the coast, they're called the Grek tribe, and that's another tribe of orcs that are there.
Nice.
And there is to the east of them where Tessing is. That is one of the largest, call it a barbarian population. And when I say large, that the king, Iovane Shield, he rules over 10 million barbarians. That is
Wow.
a very large barbarian nation, right? But
Yeah.
as you go up that coast there on the west, that is all human nations. And some are small and tiny, some are large, but it just goes all the way up until you hit into the hill dwarfs of Colonia, right? Now, the group
Hmm.
is somewhere along, if you go up north of Teasing. So if you go to the Aileen Abbey, which is north of there, west. Keep going to the left. To the left. There you go. They're kind of in that region.
Okay.
That's kind of where the party is right now, is in that region. And they were magically transported from Badajana over where they were at, near Floria and the Titan's Gate.
Who transferred them over there?
But then we would be remiss not to mention our good Lord, right? And where he is from.
Good old
Because
Lord
this
Kyrus.
is going to go to his head, the fact that we're talking about Lord Kyrus, and we haven't mentioned anybody else, right? But if you pull up the map of the Sibling Isles.
Yes, one moment. Sibling Isles. There we go. Sorry about that.
There you go. So the top island, that is called Navarine. That is the sister. The bottom island is Navarine, and that is the brother. There is your high elves are there on the brother island, or Navarine. The humans are in Navarine. Now, what's going on in this section of the world? So understand these islands, these are two large naval nations, right? They control this area. You're going to dock. If you're shipping stuff from iclador to Badajana, or from Badajana to iclador, you're going to use one of these islands to dock, resupply, and go over.
Cool.
They also deal. They're kind of like crossroads, kind of, of merchants and everything at this point in time. So the reality here is, if they wanted to shut down shipping,
if they wanted to shut down shipping,
ensue that would eliminate the ability to provide. And why is Lord Kyrus important to this? Well, his mother is the queen of Navarine, and his father is the king of Navarine. He is a half elf.
Okay.
And why would these two royals produce offspring, right? And so the story goes that mom and dad fell in love as young prince and princess. They had met, ran away, eloped. Their stories fast and furious. But he was conceived. Hence Lord Kyrus the Two Bloods, right? So through a lot of things that have taken place in Navarine, the royalty was a figure. The Senate controlled everything.
So they were just figureheads?
And as the queen, and by the way, her name is Cecily, Queen Cecily Beard, as she took control, she realized how corrupt the Senate was, and it wasn't actually her. It was.
But in the meantime, she was just a figurehead, right?
She was just a figurehead, right?
Okay.
And so, all the nobility around here and her mother, Queen Anne, realized how corrupt the Senate was. Queen Anne, made the edict and eliminated the Senate.
Ooh, Emperor Palpatine style.
it was, yeah, that Senate.
Julius Caesar. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so the Senate is outlawed. They're no longer around. those who tried to usurp the throne were found
Traitorous.
accidents. You know, they had accidents all over the world at many different stages of their life. Um, but the nobility, that's the unique thing here is the nobility was getting them and their serfs, so to speak, were getting so beat down by the Senate.
Mhm.
They actually begged and pleaded and asked the queen to take control.
Ah, yes, 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 yes.
So that was about the year 1073.
What year are we in now?
We're actually in year 1100. So
Oh
that
wow,
wasn't
okay.
long ago. In the meantime, the left half of the island, they fled. Those senators fled and their supporters fled, and they started to create this tiny little nation called Cairna. And
Where is that?
that does no longer exist.
Oh, okay.
Queen, when Sicily took over, she wiped Cairna completely off them,
Oh wow.
like to the, I mean, just to be blunt, to the child. That anybody that was a part of that nation no
Hmm.
longer exists that anybody knows of.
And that's which remind me which island again? Sorry, I was
That's
doing
the
stream
north.
stuff.
That's the one.
That's what I
That's the
thought.
sister. That's Navarine, the top one.
Gotcha.
Now, if you go into the bottom one, it is a very large elven nation. You can see it's dedicated to the high elves. They're very haughty. They're Lord Kyrus on another scale, right? As far as haughtiness goes, and attitude and everything else. His dad is the king, but he's a figurehead. The
Hmm.
person that actually runs it is Queen Freyja. So Queen Freyja is married to his father.
So he remarried.
Correct. So,
So is
but
that
he,
stepmom?
yeah, let's call it stepmom,
Sure. But
type thing.
did they ever really well, I'd have to ask Kyrus.
You'd have to,
Cool.
Kyrus will share eventually, but stepmom doesn't like him. Think that
Did
he actually has the right to either throne,
does
and his half brothers
he
and sisters.
has half brothers and sisters. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So so there's a lot of intrigue, nastiness going on. He didn't want to be a part of it, hence that's why he ended up on the other side of the world.
Right. Drinking and
He
whoring and yeah.
exactly. He decided to just go spend money and enjoy life.
Right.
So that's Lord Kairos. That is the world in a nutshell. Now, the interesting thing is there's a lot of history here, right?
Yeah.
And how did I come up with it? I didn't come up with it on my own. Right. I'm going to say that right now.
Mhm.
The story, the concept, all of that the demons, all of that is my imagination. That's me.
Sure.
The foundation of the history I used an application called World Spinner.
Mm.
I allow it to help me build the lands, allow it to give me a good foundation of history, and I can then take that foundation and tweak it and make it my own. And that's what I've done. Right? That's what I've used for that. So that's that piece.
Is that
We're
this? Just shameless plug for World Spinner here.
Yeah, it is a shameless plug for World Spinner. They don't have an affiliate program, and
Nice. Okay.
so
Cool.
I love them. I used them a lot. I use them a lot. Let's put it that way. But that's where I
But it
get
helps you
kind of
keep
the
track of
history.
stuff and
Yeah,
timelines and all that good stuff. Oh, that's
correct.
super cool.
So it helps me out that way.
I am bookmarking that puppy.
Now, there's some interesting concepts on it, and I like unique magic concepts. Right?
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of of the way magic is used in Will of Time. I love the fact that there is only like women are the only ones that can truly harness it, yet men are the most powerful, but it drives them crazy.
Hmm.
I love that. There's another game, old RPG out that is by far my favorite RPGs, which is Earth Dawn.
Earth what?
And Earth Dawn. And in Earth Dawn, magic is blood magic. So you can either use your blood, you can use somebody else's blood, you can use animals and creatures' blood, but that's Earth Dawn, right? So
Oh wow, they're
oh
already at their like 4th edition.
yeah,
Cool.
Ma Deeps, hello, welcome to the chat. We're giving a breakdown and
Woohoo!
rundown of the world because not a lot of people have known about it. It's a homebrew world, and we've just been talking about that. Happy to answer questions, but welcome. So
Yep.
I
If you're just joining the channel, by the way, um, we'll have this up on YouTube about half an hour after the stream ends, so you can go
yep,
back and check out the lore and catch up on the campaign. So, yeah, feel free to hang out. If you like what you see, hit that follow button. We are, by the way, 45 out of 50 followers to affiliate.
yep,
So we just need 5 more followers to hit affiliate. So, um, do us a favor and you're in here and you're just kind of curious, smash that follow button. Awesome. Thank you so much for
yep.
whoever just smashed that. And yeah, really appreciate that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
we
what I
stream
forgot on here.
our true game session is streamed every Thursday night. Usually tomorrow we are actually going to be streaming Wednesday night this week as we're into a lot of us are a little long in the tooth. We have kids and family that are graduating from high school and doing things, and so May's kind of high school graduation celebration party, family parties and stuff like that. So we've had a few things interrupt the last 2 weeks. Normally we're Thursday night from 8 till we call it 10, but a lot of the times we go past that p.m. Mountain Time. We stream that. Tomorrow we'll actually be doing that as well. So as I started thinking, we're going to transition back to the magic section. So I had to come up with a unique, cool concept for magic, right? I'm not a big fan of, hey, my spell components have to have this much verbal, this much somatic in the components and that aspect. Makes a pain in the butt to really keep track of. Some of the material components, like for spells like Revivify or Resurrection and stuff like that, yeah, you're going to need some of those material components, right? But magic's going to be tied to something, right? And I'm going to talk about that in a second. But there's a reason I mentioned it now as we roll into the religion. There are gods here. And the question is, and it's debated by all the theologians in the world, is were the gods here before us or did we bring them with us? Right? That's the discussions that are being bandied about. So Lord Kyrus is a paladin. He worships the god Kirstis, which is the god of the sea. Think of the domain Tempest. Oh wow, what happened?
Yeah, I fixed it. Don't worry. I just
Oh,
stream
okay.
elements. I forgot to import the overlay, so we're just
Uh,
gonna we're just gonna
okay.
fix that and notice somebody.
Okay.
In fact, where'd it go? My activity feed. We're going to replay audience. It should pop up on the stream, hopefully.
Sweet.
Cool.
While you're doing that, so Lord Kirstis is the god of the sea.
Did it do it? It does it. Okay, interesting. I'll have to figure that out. Apologies.
Yep. So he think of the domains Tempest and War. That's kind of what Kirstis oversees, right? Symbols of double-masted worship with a trident behind it. You've got Viona, who's the goddess of nature. Brimia, who's the goddess of law. Yaris, who's the god of war. Zundan is the god of wisdom. Datum's the god of revenge. Fortuna is the goddess of light. This is important. This is a name everybody watching this wants to remember. Itis, right? The god of magic. Depending upon your belief structure, it is god or goddess of magic. That's something to be understood. You've got Kiner, who is the god of trickery and secrecy. Yor, which is the god of agriculture. Theodor, which is the god of destruction. The parties actually ran into some statues of Theodor at the very beginning. Tim Beer loves Theodor. He
Hmm.
just shakes his hand, burns up, loves that aspect. You've got Asdur, who is the god of mountains, and the dwarves tend to actually worship Asdur more than any other god out there. Kenra is the goddess of death. Silnir is the god of shadows. The halflings and gnomes tend to worship Uva, who is the goddess of the hearth. And then the final god is, there's certain people that call him the one true god, and his
Hmm.
name is Urion,
Hmm.
and he is the god of creation. So those are the kind of the gods here. And so again, let's go back to Edis, right? The goddess of magic. Now, the concept of magic for me is cool. We've got a god that oversees magic. How can we take this god? How can we imbue magic upon those in the world that are casted, right? We've got our sorcerers, we've got our warlocks, we've got our wizards, our clerics, our druids, arcane tricksters, our bards, all of that. Well, there's a special ink out there called Itis ink. Now, the sect of Itis, the brotherhood of Itis, or the sisterhood, depending on where you're at in the world, they create this Itis ink. It's magically imbued. Now you're thinking, what is this ink used for? Is it going to be used to write your spells on scrolls? You're going to be using it to write your spells on books? No. Magic in this world is imbued through tattoos. And this is literally,
This is the cool part about magic in your campaign, yeah.
yes, the the brotherhood and sisterhood of Itis are tattoo artists. Right? That's cool. So those born with the gift of Itis, they will become a brother or sister of Itis. Those who feel as if they have the gift of magic are drawn to the temple of Itis. They're going to start to get guided and pushed to apprenticeships and things um, throughout. So you'll get pushed to your apprenticeship and stuff like that. So your tattoos light up when you start casting spells. And as you level up throughout this world, you have to find a brother or sister of Itis to tattoo your body. They don't create the tattoo. You design that. You have that concept, right? It can be small, it can be big, but when you grow in power, you got to find. Now, everybody thinks. Now, here's the cool part. You see somebody with a lot of tattoos, they could be a pirate, they could be a sailor, or they could be the world's most powerful magic user there. You don't know. So people, they don't tend to talk crap to people covered in tattoos just for that reason alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But most wizards, most sorcerers, they tend to follow a theme of their tattoos. In our group that we're playing, we have Theron, our druid, who has the wolf pack, and he follows a wolf theme, a familial theme throughout all of his tattoos. And it's cool when we get Theron to sit down because usually Brother Razban's the one that inks up Theron, and we can pull some good stories and good backstory out of Theron while he's getting tattooed. So it's pretty fun that way. So, who receives the mark of Itis, or a mark of Itis is a cat growing in power and casting spells? It's your sorcerers, it's your wizards.
Warlocks, druids,
Yeah, but
paladins, rangers.
clerics are unique here. They still have to visit,
Mm.
but their tattoo is that of their holy symbol of their god, and they only need one. Clerics don't have to go and get a bunch of different tattoos. They only need the one. Druids receive multiple tattoos, but one of the tattoos must include in the ink either a sacred plant or a piece of wood from their forest in them. Usually that's your first tattoo. You receive that from that brother of Itis that does that. Now, warlocks, they're the unique ones, right? Because why? They get an otherworldly patron. They participate in this as well. The patrons are drawn not to provide ink on a warlock, but they brand the warlock. Warlocks are cattle to patrons. Think about that.
Hmm.
So that's the thing that makes it a little bit eerie for some people, because if you follow lore, it's the other world that destroyed the other world. So
Mhm.
now you're wearing a brand that is showing that you're working with someone from the other world, right? So warlocks tend to hide or prefer to have their brands hidden, but there are some mischievous patrons that are out there that will tend to brand a neck, a face, do something to where you have no choice but to try it out. So that is magic in a nutshell here.
Cool. Very
We're hitting 10:35
cool. Hmm.
Mountain Time. We've been talking for an hour. I'm going to wrap this up and say I welcome everybody to follow along. We have fun. If you haven't watched any of the videos, head on over to our YouTube channel. We have changed and grown and gotten better, and we're continuously growing. You can catch up on the party. We're at 7 player characters. Most of us play consistently every Thursday night. Some of the life we don't let we I'm not going to stop if life intervenes. We're going to continue to play. I will figure out a way to either remove the character from the story and provide a very cool side story
Outro.
that that helps justify why they missed the last session. Um, but we have a good big group. It's fun. It's fun, my deeps. It's. I prefer 5 or 6. 7's my limit, and if we get into combat, it does take a full night for combat,
Hmm.
because we have to counterbalance it. It tends to be a very big battle if we get into that. But this party has fun, right? And that's been the best part about it. So what we're going to do is we roll into this new series of the Lore Masters Nook and talk about the world lore. We're also going to talk about character backstories, and we'll invite, if they can, each player to talk about their character and their backstory. So as we sign off, just understand that we have some very cool characters, and I'm going to just kind of talk about them a little bit here. The entire party is at level 6 now. We've been playing since September of 2021. We have Simbir, Willowlock. He is the party's elven rogue. He's actually an assassin, but he's an assassin for good, right? That's kind of the cool part. You've got Galley Kilnborn, who is a human divine sorcerer. We have Godorak, who is Josh's character here. Josh's character is a human fighter. He's a battle master,
Hmm.
and Godorak is the byproduct of a death.
Yes.
So Josh's first character at level 2 or 1 got hit by a warg with a critical with max damage and got his head kind of bit
One
off.
shot. One
One
shot.
shot.
Took me down below the negative minimum and basically
Yep.
splat. So
So
yeah.
we created a tank in essence that fights with distance.
Yep.
And then
Yeah. It's fun.
Then we
You'll
have
see. He
Pirates.
when it's his turn, Godorak goes, okay, I hit this, I move, I hit that, I hit that. Okay, I'm done next.
Yep. Then we have Lord Kyrus of Two Bloods. That is, we've talked about Lord Kyrus. He is the half elf paladin. Mintra Tarkleby is our gnome bard. He's the newest member of the party.
Mm-hmm.
Nenny Jamjar is our halfling monk.
Scott plays
Now,
Nettie so well.
Scott plays
Yeah.
Nenny very well, and I'm going to show some favoritism here because Nenny is my favorite character in the party.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. He's got the halfling voice down. He just naturally inflects his natural inflection. Yeah.
And I think we're going to talk about Nenny next week because his backstory's enough, and it's an amazing backstory.
Well,
and it's
and
the
it
best way
seems
to
like the halflings have the most history in this world, anyways. Right?
They
So
do.
it's very
They definitely
pertinent.
do.
Yeah.
So the thing about Nenny is when you think about him, think of Mad Dog Murdoch from the A-Team. That's Nenny, right? That is Nenny.
Mm-hmm.
And
Except
then
he
our
hits
druid,
like a truck.
yeah,
He's a monk.
he does hit like a
Yeah.
truck. It does help that he has gauntlets of ogre strength.
Yes.
But then you have the druid, elven druid, which is a Theron stalking wolf, and we've talked about Theron and his wolf tattoos and stuff like that. That's our party of 7.
Mhm.
Every once in a while, we have some recurring characters that pop up that the party has fun with. We have Brother Razband, who is the cleric of Idis. Lord Kyrus has. Oh, that's awesome, Madeeps. You'll love Nenny. Go back and catch some of them. There's an episode on our YouTube channel where Nenny and Thimbir were underwater. They both had potions of water breathing. Found a underwater treasure trove, and Nenny recognized the bag of holding as like one of the bag of holdings that the party had, and so he swept in the entire treasure in that area into the bag of holding. There is a portable hole in that treasure, and if you take a portable hole and combine it with a bag of holding, it kind of destroys everything around there and creates a small portal to the astral plane. And so Nenny and Simbir actually spent 2 full sessions in the astral plane, and they, through sheer dumb luck, survived that. They were 4th level in the astral plane, and through sheer dumb luck, they survived the astral plane.
Right. Yes,
And
as you do. Exactly, Muddy. Yeah.
exactly.
So there was a little help from Godorak's deceased wife and child.
Yep.
So
Yes. So that there was that. Theron also decided to drop some acid by drinking a potion of hallucination and tried to walk the wilds like young guns taking the peyote there, right? And trying to find his friends through the spirit world, and ended up hallucinating that he was in the Fey world. It was 2 fun sessions that we had right there.
my
There's
favorite
a lot of great.
is still the water elemental in the sewers, which we affectionately named the poop monster.
Yeah, the poo monster. Water elemental in the sewers, wrapping Lord Kyrus up was pretty solid as well. So I think next week we were going to talk about Nenny and his backstory. If we can get Scott to come on and talk about Nenny, we will. If not, I'm going to talk about Nenny because Nenny gets first round billing. I actually, you know what? That's not true because we gave Lord Kyrus pretty good billing today, right? So
yeah, you give. Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot tied to the royalty. In this world, so I mean that just makes him naturally.
Yeah.
But we still haven't fleshed out Godorak all that much.
No,
there's
and we're going.
There's still a lot of empty canvas there to paint with, and so that's gonna be
fun. We're in the area that I'm painting with Godorak.
Nice.
So
love it.
But definitely anybody that's here, if you haven't smashed the follow button, follow us. Head on over to YouTube, subscribe to that, catch up on that as you can. We're here to help, have fun, enjoy life. We've all been playing for a long time. I mean, I started when chainmail was given to me, and I that's where I got my start. And then I met Josh, who plays Lord Kyrus. We've got
Other
two Josh.
Josh. Yeah.
We got Win and Josh Win. He plays Lord Kyrus. I met him in 7th grade. We've been playing together since then. A lot of us have been playing together for close to 4 years, or longer. So we all have fun. We all have families. So we keep this light. We keep it fun. And I do run a gritty campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, oh, I didn't talk about inspiration, right?
Oh,
So
right. Yeah.
uh, I'll talk about inspiration, and then I'll hop off, right? We'll
Sure
log
you
out.
will. Sure you will.
No, I love talking about this. I'm having a blast. So
Good.
um, every character, every one of our player characters has been blessed by the gods,
Mm.
and because they're being drawn and pushed to help this world right now. And so I believe in using inspiration a little bit differently than most campaigns do. Every character that has kept the blessing of the gods, and I'm going to say kept because one character has lost it already. And he lost it the same day he received it. And so, as you have your blessing of the god or the kiss of the god, you get to re-roll any natural one once per session, right?
That's not
This
per.
is saved
Yeah.
characters in the long run, right? So,
That's once per evening, once per game session.
yep, that's one.
Right.
So you don't need
And
a
it's.
long rest. You don't need a short rest. That's one per gaming session. The other
Yep.
benefit that they just found out happened with Galley. So Galley received his kiss 3 sessions ago,
Mm.
and they were fighting in a graveyard. They ended up fighting a mummy lord, which was had 2 whites with him, and Galley ran up to take on the mummy lord, and the whites attacked him and hit him very well
Yeah. The
and wiped him
sorcerer.
out.
The sorcerer ran up in close
Yeah, the
combat with.
sorcerer thought he was a tank. I don't know.
I don't know
I love
that
it.
guy. That guy. Yeah. He's got a death wish. Sean has a death
But
wish for for
he
Galley.
he ended up he ended up dying in essence. But the kiss will allow you to survive once.
Well, that and Theron had that
Well,
revivify spell. Yeah.
so he died. His soul was brought out to fight.
Mm-hmm.
He was still technically alive.
And
It's
go to.
when Godorak killed the soul, and that's put it that the gods, the kiss of the gods, put the soul back in the body for Galley, and it gave you guys enough time, even though he's still making his death saves. It gave the party enough time to revivify Galley. So Galley has officially lost his kiss of the gods, and so he is not drawn like everybody else is to go to certain locations, but he has a specific duty to protect or help Lord Kyrus. Oh yeah, no, mummy lords are my new favorite attack, my dudes, is insect plague. That is a nasty spell, and that the party got hit by 2 of them. Mummy lords can cast it up to 3 times.
Although the coolest use of a spell in this campaign still has to be Gust of Wind on the Shambling.
Yeah. So there was a shambling mound where the gust of wind was used to keep the shambling mound away from them, and it worked effectively,
Mm-hmm.
very well. All right, everybody, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to this. Any questions? Don't hesitate to comment, pop into chat, talk to us. I've got no problem talking about this world. I love it. I'm actually I have said Nenny's my favorite character. I have started to actually write a book around Nenny. So I haven't gotten Scott's permission on that, but it's in my world. I can change the name and all of a sudden it's now my character, but I like the name. So Scott's going to ask for royalty or something. I know that, but I'm having a blast with it. But again, guys, everybody, ladies too, because Ascend and Ava could eventually pop in. And thank you so much. We appreciate your support, and see everybody tomorrow.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.